Hey, Chad, what's going on, man? I got one
What's
question
up?
for you. It's not a question at all. It's a statement. It's gonna be May. It's
it's
May.
it's already May.
It's May. All right, welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Raffle Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Adam. It's episode 257, Gumbert. And today we have with me Arthur Aardvark himself, Chad Michael Ennis.
Is that
what
what
he
sound do aardvarks make?
I don't think they make noises. I think they're pretty
No?
big but soft creatures.
Okay, I went to a zoo once. Surprise, San
Mhm.
Diego Zoo with friend Trevor Bettis and Dusty Hill, and there was an anteater there. And let me tell you, Adam, this thing. I want you to picture an anteater in your brain right now. Picture an anteater.
Okay.
And I want you to like compare it to an item. Don't tell me what it is, but compare it to an item in your home. In
Okay.
size.
We're talking about size-wise?
In size, yeah.
Okay.
Now imagine that you're dead wrong and it is 14 times larger than that item. That's an anteater.
I don't know if I said it would be about the size of a reclining chair.
What?
So if an anteater is bigger than a lazy boy, you're crazy. Like a lazy boy.
Why did you ever think that?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's like it was a good like 2.5, 3 feet tall for sure, and like
Yeah, it's like a big
5
dog,
foot long.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
a
did you
reclining
learn
chair,
that? How did
How?
you learn
Because
they were that big?
Dude, I was all about animals as a kid. I loved animals. I want to be a marine biologist, but then you had to do math, so I said, never mind.
Yeah, and there are no anteaters in the ocean, and isn't marine
In the ocean,
biology
exactly. No, dude, I was so into animals. So
Man.
I was like, I'm going to be Steve Irwin, but not get killed.
Nice. Let's take a moment of silence for Steve Irwin.
Yeah, him and Dale Earnhardt just passed his birthday.
Steve Irwin and Dale Earnhardt. That's our Jesus Christ and God, respectively, here at Respawn Empire.
Woo! You can catch it on twitch.tv/AffleVideo Sunday evenings at 8:30. YouTube and podcast services on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. in the morning. Same time, you can watch Arthur on PBS and learn about reading.
Do you
And
think that's
have you
still
seen-
on?
Oh, it is. It is still on. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's reruns from 20 years. The last episode, he grows up and he's like an adult man.
What?
And everyone's grown up, and it's very weird. Yeah, you can just Google like
Grown-up
Arthur last episode.
Arthur. They
Yeah,
didn't do
like
like a
last
whole
episode
grown-up series.
Arthur.
Ew.
No, it's just like one episode where they're all adults.
Ew.
I think he's like he's a writer or something. He's a loser, basically.
He's sitting at a booth in a diner
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
like an open book, like a nerd,
Yeah.
a freaking nerd. He's grown very, very few chin hairs in a prepubescent
got a couple
style.
of hairs,
Yep.
yeah.
And he's got a lot of hair. He's got a lot of hair for someone who had zero hair in his
As a kid.
elementary and middle school years.
I think his sister's a police officer, and the rich girl's now the mayor. Something crazy.
His sister
It's
is a police
fan
officer.
fiction.
However, she looks identical to herself as a young child.
She's a little bit bigger.
Oh, but there is a picture of her in a little navy blue dress with pearls on. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got a boner.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Now, remember,
Uh-oh.
Arthur, in that infamous meme, Arthur does punch his sister in an episode. That's where we get the Arthur fist meme from. He does punch the fuck out of DW.
But
So,
she continues to do the show. # why she stayed.
wow, insane. Upcoming on today's show, we're talking about, Sony, PS Plus stuff, more information about that Quarry game from Supermassive, the really cool looking one.
Oh, yeah.
Skull and Bones. The ship is sprung a leak, Captain.
Ooh, very good. Very good.
Yeah, but first, we got a big one, maybe a megaton. Just remember that reference.
Right. From
Xbox
Fallout.
Bethesda Showcase. Yeah, it's coming
It's a
this
Fallout
summer.
reference.
It's a Fallout reference, absolutely. Not Fallout Boy. George Yang at IGN. There he is.
We know that name. Sometimes
We
we say
know
George
him.
Yang at GameSpot.
He's a freelancer making his money. Xbox and Bethesda have announced that a summer showcase will air on June 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The showcase will include upcoming games coming to Xbox and PC, as well as Xbox Game Pass. Currently, Xbox's most highly anticipated game with a set release date is Starfield on November 11th. We'll almost certainly see first gameplay at the showcase if it doesn't come beforehand. Arcane's Redfall is also scheduled to launch sometime in 2022. A release date for that one is not yet been revealed, but maybe at that show.
Ooh.
But before we go on, we're just going to do it now. Segment from Adam.
Whoa, what? Segment from Adam. So fast, so quick,
Yeah.
so early. Segment from Adam. So
I'm
squirrely.
not playing around. Oh, I'm sure there's a squirrel who's a librarian in Arthur. So first, actually, it's just an announcement. Do you have any thoughts on an announcement of a day that they're showing a thing?
It's the same day that they normally would if E3 existed, and they're going to do probably the same exact shit, just without any association with E3.
Yeah. Show us, 45 minutes to an hour of cool video games.
You think it's
All
just going to be
right,
that? Just 45 minutes to an hour? Is that what they said?
I think it was last year. I think last year was about an hour.
I feel
maybe
like they're
a little bit under.
I feel like they're always like hour and a half to 2 hours, especially
That's what everyone thought. And then last year they did it for an hour, and they were like, "Yeah, that's cool."
But this year they've got Bethesda on board.
Well, there was Bethesda last year too.
But Bethesda had their own conference last year, didn't they?
No, it was together.
No?
Last year was together.
There's a year of my life missing.
Yeah, Xbox / Bethesda was last year as well.
Okay, damn.
Yeah,
All right.
there's a lot of time missing for me. So our segment from Adam, like, hey, we got an announcement of a showcase. Let's make predictions, wild predictions, and try to outdo each other.
Okay.
I'm going to go through some basic information first, basically about last year's show, and then we'll make our predictions that are way too early because we don't know anything. So, while Bethesda already announced Elder Scrolls 6 back in 2018, it might be a while before we hear anything more about it. Since it was announced before Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda, we could possibly, get a confirmation. What's up with that game? Is it exclusive? Is it not? What's going on?
Right.
Maybe that could happen this year. I don't necessarily think that one, but that's just what this person wrote. Machine Games announced last year that they were working on an Indiana Jones game. We haven't seen anything about it since then, since that little teaser trailer. One possible reveal could be Deathloop's inclusion into Game Pass because that exclusivity runs out after a year. Maybe something like that. Maybe that was one of my predictions because I think that's an easy one. Ninja Theory is working on Senua's Saga 2 or Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, whatever. Undead Labs is doing State of Decay 3. Perfect Dark reboot, of course, we know. Fable's doing has a reboot as well. And we know Obsidian is working on Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. We haven't heard much about Rare's Everwild. Apparently it got rebooted at some point or like restarted. And then last year's showcase, we had reveals of Outer Worlds 2 and Forza Horizon 5. That's the first time those games were show off. So here's some things we know about. They had 2 things that were shown off that were exclusive last year. But we're going to go through it. We're going to make random predictions and figure out what we think is going to happen. Because again, nobody really knows anything yet.
It's true.
So who wants to start?
I'll start. My first prediction is probably the least risky of them.
Okay.
Doom. I don't think we're going to see anything from Doom, not a single mention of it, and it is taking a break for a while they reimagine what the series can be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Doom hasn't really done the same type of thing for more than like a couple games at a time. So, with Doom and Doom Eternal and then the Doom Eternal DLC, Doom 2016 Eternal and the Eternal DLC, I feel like it's time now for them to come back with a different take on Doom next time. So I don't think we're going to hear anything about that for a while.
Okay. Now, if something like old Doom gets remastered and put into Game Pass, like that will technically count? Or are you saying that
we're not gonna see any new Doom news. Like
no
new Doom game. No nude game.
Watch it be a VR game, and you're like, fuck.
They already have Doom VR. Doom VFR.
I know they do. Doom 2 VR.
Doom V2
Arthur's Revenge. But okay, no Doom VR. Or no Doom, period. No new Doom. Gotcha.
Yep.
I will take an easy one. Again, I read it in here, but I think we get the announcement of Deathloop coming into Game Pass on the day that exclusivity runs out.
Deathloop
maybe
comes
kind
to
of
Game Pass.
I don't know if they're allowed to speak. Are they allowed to speak about that before the deal is up is the question. You know what? I'm going to change that because I don't technically know if they'd be allowed to speak about that until the year is up. Because like I remember with the other one, the Tokyo Ghostwire, they were like, it's exclusive for until this day.
Yeah.
But they didn't say anything else. So it's like, they probably won't. I'm changing that. What I'm going to do is we will have we will show more games from Devolver Digital because them and Devolver are good friends. A lot of games going to Game Pass, and One, how do you want to do this? I have two games. I don't know if they'll both go into Game Pass, but I think at least one of them will go into. How about I get a half point if only one of them, but not the other one? We'll do that. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So I think that Cult of the Lamb, which is the game that we saw and we talked about last year, and Return to Monkey Island will both launch into Game Pass on day one. Again, most of all of our games eventually come to Game Pass. I'm saying these two are day ones into Game Pass.
All right.
So Cult of the Lamb, Return to Monkey Island, day one Game Pass is what I'm going to say for my first prediction.
All right. I'm going to piggyback off of your Game Pass prediction, and I'm going to make a bold claim. In previous years, we've heard Microsoft say, like, today we're going to show you 57 games, and 51 of them are coming to Game Pass at some point. I'm going to say every single thing that we see at Xbox's conference is coming to Game Pass.
Okay.
Every single game.
Awesome. Put it down because you're going to lose. Because they'll show like one EA game and it's like, well, it won't be Game Pass day one. You'll have to wait 6 months.
Well, I
Prove me
didn't
wrong.
say day one. I didn't say day one Game Pass. But they usually do make a distinction where it's like, this is coming to Game Pass versus this is coming to Game Pass day one. Like, they will usually let
so
you
you're saying
know.
they would all say, everything will say something about Game Pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes they'll say, like, coming to Game Pass later this year or something.
Mhm.
And they usually do make the distinction. Like last year, they definitely said, we have X amount of games and X of them are coming to Game Pass. I think this year we're going to see every single one on Game Pass.
All of them. I mean, yeah, last year it was only like 2 or 3 that didn't come to Game Pass.
Yeah, it was very few.
That's very good. That's very good. My next one will be that we get. Oh, it's a little. I think that we get an announcement of Machine Games' new game, which will be Wolfenstein. We're gonna get a Wolfenstein 3 announcement at this year's show.
Does it specifically have to be Wolfenstein 3 or can it just be a new Wolfenstein game?
I'm gonna say Wolfenstein 3, but I'm also just gonna asterisk Wolfenstein sequel. I don't know if it's gonna be 3, but I think it's gonna be based off the BJ Blazkowicz. Like I know there was a spin-off one that was whatever. It's not gonna be that. It'll be like this is proper Wolfenstein, whatever they end up calling it.
So Wolfenstein sequel
Wolfenstein.
from Machine Games. Is that your prediction?
From Machine Games. That's what I'm going with.
All right. Despite the fact that Machine Games is working on what did we just say?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, all of these studios make multiple games. Like Obsidian will probably have another game announced.
Okay.
It's like our fourth game. We'll see.
All right. I have one last prediction. We are going to see. Now, this might be risky if it's another 45-minute conference, but we are going to see at least 10 whole minutes devoted to Starfield.
I agree with you on that one. I think a good amount of time. Maybe it's 5 to 10, but I think, yeah, I'm with you on that one. They're 100% showing everything about that game.
Yep.
At E3. So that's a good one to put in.
It's still coming this year, right? Like, it has not been delayed?
No, they keep saying November 11th. So we'll see until they say it's not. But right now, that's what it looks like. And again, this is how everyone's like Bethesda Game Studios, the one that Todd Howard works at, this is what they do. Again, they don't put out a ton of games because they take a long ass time to make games, but it's always like, comes out in 6 months. Here you go.
I want to clarify. 10 minutes devoted to Starfield also includes if they say, hey, here's some information about Starfield, and now a sneak peek of the Starfield soundtrack. Here's a band to play 7 minutes of music you don't care about. Like, that counts as Starfield content.
You're saying 10 minutes of Starfield?
Yep.
Okay. I hope so. Here's what they could also do. Well, I mean, this won't count, but it could be like, here's 2 minutes of Starfield. Watch after the show when we've got 20 minutes of Starfield.
Oh, that wouldn't
they could
count.
Get you on
that
there.
Wouldn't count.
It's one of the two. We're gonna get that. I agree with you though. So for my last one, I just had it in my head. We will get Redfall release date, and it's within the next 3 months.
Ooh.
Because wait, June, so it'll be June, July, August, till September. My bad. The 3 months after. So I think we will get an announcement, release date of Redfall, and it will be by the end of September.
All right, so I'm gonna say by the end of quarter 3, we're gonna do
there you go.
Financial year.
Summer before the yeah, absolutely. Redfall announced, released within the next couple months.
Redfall autocorrects to redial, so redial release date. Dope. All right, that was the last of my predictions.
3 each?
Yeah, that's 3 each.
Okay. I will just say, personally, I'm really interested in seeing Replaced. We haven't seen anything about the game since last year. I think that they made a tweet saying like, "Hey, we got to delay it. We're hard at work." But Replaced looks fucking dope, and I'm very interested in playing
I
that. If you want to
am
look it up, it's
Googling
like
it right now because I don't remember it.
yeah, it's like a 2.5D like Blade Runner looking kind of thing. Oh, it looks really fucking
It
good.
does look really good. I don't remember this though.
Yeah, it was like a 1 minute trailer or something like that, but it's a good time. And even to your chagrin, there will be another. This isn't a prediction. There will be another update on Grounded, even though you want to hate on Grounded. The game's good.
Oh, I fucking forgot about. Is that game like complete yet? Like, can you play it all the way, or is it still?
No, they keep it. Oh, it's just like any survival game. Like, Rust was in fucking early access for fucking 4 years before it came out.
Okay.
There's content there, but I'm sure we'll get another Grounded. But that's not one of my things. So, anyways, that's it. That's what our predictions. That's what we're saying. Adam loves Devolver Digital. Chad likes to say things don't show up. All right. Well, so this isn't included in it. What do you think? Like the one last thing, the thing that like we don't know about, like the big surprise. Do you have any guess? Because it was Forza last year. Because I had no fucking idea Forza Horizon 5 was coming out last year, and they were like, "Boom, here you go."
Last thing, they show a big screen with all of their current studios.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "All right, now we add Activision Blizzard to all of that. That expands out. You see all of those teams,
Yeah, that's
and then they're going to add one more, one single one at the bottom right. We bought the FTC.
we own E3
Yes.
now.
So that's going to be the one more thing is they now own the FTC.
So funny. All right, so that's it for that first news story. Fun times, a lot of speculation. None of it will come true. But speaking of things that did happen, Chad, time for playtime.
Ooh, this will be a short one for me. Played more Destiny 2. Surprise. Doing
Mhm.
more raids, getting good shit. Next week is the Guardian Games. It's the Olympics where
They have the Olympics.
oh
in
yeah,
there?
they have the Olympics and it's hunters versus titans versus warlocks. So like whatever character you main, you do a bunch of you play the game, you get medals, you bank the medals at the big giant statues, and then whichever class earns the most medals, they get like this big statue celebrating them in the middle of the tower for the whole year. So first year was
Yeah, cool.
Titans. I was a Titan when we won. Second year was Hunters. I did not participate in the games at all. This year it's going to be Warlocks, and I play as a Warlock now. So let's hope. Let's hope to God. So more Destiny 2. I'm 3 episodes into Batman: The Enemy Within. I finished Batman Telltale series, the first
Season 1.
Season 1. We talked about all the technical issues I had last time. Still had all of those issues all the way through the end of the game. I enjoyed it. Started Enemy Within. Most of those technical issues are gone. We'll talk more about it later this week when we do the Barf episode. So yeah, look forward to our Barf recording coming up later this week. We're going to have a special guest on the show as well that you might know from previous special guest spots and our Twitch chat most weekends. So that's coming later this week. And then I have been itching, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I, about a week ago, remembered that Square Enix is doing the 2D HD, like Octopath art style treatment for Dragon Warrior 3.
Live Alive, whatever that other one is. Right?
Well, Live Alive was going to possibly be my solution to this, but they're doing that for Dragon Warrior 3.
Oh, are they?
Yes, and they
I was
announced
not
this
aware.
last year. And Dragon Warrior 3 was the very first JRPG I played on the Game Boy Color, and I have such a boner for that game. And I've been thinking about it all week, and I wanted something to scratch that itch. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll do Live Alive. Turns out that's not coming out until July. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
And so I jumped more. We talked about Fantasian last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. It's an Apple Arcade.
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, it's the Apple Arcade game from the Final Fantasy creator. And it's got that JRPG style on these dioramas. And I was like, oh, maybe this will scratch that JRPG itch. And turns out, no, I think I'm done with it. Spent like another hour in the game. And while the battle mechanics on that touchscreen, like it's all obviously optimized for mobile because it was created specifically and only for mobile. The battle mechanics are great, but just I got so tired of traveling around the map and the screen because it's not joysticks. It's like tap where you want to go. And obviously you can't see the entire, like if you're in a town, you can't see the whole town at once. So you got to tap and then wait 3 seconds for them to walk close to the edge of the screen so you can see more of the map, and then tap again.
See the rest
And
of
then
it.
wait and then
Yeah.
tap again. I just got tired of doing that. So could have been cool, but instead it fucking sucks.
Ooh.
I think the next thing I might try, actually, I'm probably not going to try anything because I still have to play Horizon Forbidden West. I still have to play through Hellblade again on Series X. And the Guardian games are coming. So if all of that fails, I did buy the Chrono Cross remaster.
Mhm.
So I'll probably jump into that to try to grab that JRPG itch and scratch it.
Get it real good.
That's it.
Scratch it as good as Buster the bunny from Arthur, because he's a bunny and they scratch good.
Wait a minute. Was the name of the bunny Buster? Because Buster and Babs were also the bunny in Tiny Toons.
I'm pretty sure his name's Buster. I might be wrong.
Arthur,
Type in Arthur
oh my god, it's
Bunny.
Buster Baxter.
Buster Baxter. What a fucking dumb name. Arthur Reed. Okay, kid.
Babs and Buster Bunny kiss? Oh god, there's some deviant art.
Yeah, don't go to those websites. You'll get some viruses.
Now I have to see it. Oh
yeah.
Ew. Yucky.
There's some.
Oh.
There's some. Don't type in Miss Incredible. It's going to be real bad.
Canonically,
Mm-hmm.
are Babs and Buster Bunny related to? I just blanked. What's the actual Looney Tunes bunny's name? What's that? That guy. Bugs.
Yeah, that guy.
Are Babs
Bugs
and
Bunny.
Buster related to Bugs? Because
Like,
there's
they're
one
probably
of
like his niece or something.
of Buster kissing Bugs on here, and if that's Daddy and kid,
I think it's his uncle, which is still wrong.
Babs and Buster Bunny relationship to Bugs. Oh, the Bugs and Buster relationship is the teacher-student relationship.
Oh,
Buster and his
just
mentor.
a different bunny. Okay, I guess it's fine that they kissed then.
Okay.
More okay.
I think I figured out. Okay,
Yeah,
so this issue where I can't hear you anymore happened again, and I think I figured it out.
Now?
Anytime that I open up a website that has some kind of video or GIF on it playing, the audio cuts out for Discord.
Cuts it out.
So
Gotcha.
I'm gonna leave the call real quick. I'll BRB. What's
Mhm.
up, everybody? This is real good content. How's it going? Now you get to see me, 2 of me. All right, talk again, Adam.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, so good. Yep.
Yeah, you figured it out. Don't look at DeviantArt with
Yeah,
video
don't look
files.
at cartoon bunny porn while I'm doing the show.
I was talking to you the whole time, so that'll be good for the podcast. As far as me, what I played, I am basically at the very end of Batman. I'm literally doing the last thing, and I was like, oh, I got to go do a chore, so I just paused it. Thank God for Quick Resume, because I can just turn the Xbox off and come back, and I ain't got to worry about it. So I'll probably finish it up after we finish the podcast, so we'll talk about that on Barf in the next couple days. Played more Assassin's Creed Origins, because Moon Knight continues to interest me in Egypt stuff. So that's more fun. Moon Knight, fun time. Ready for that last episode.
Yeah,
and
me
then
too.
I stared at PC games. Yeah, I'm ready. Very ready. Stared at PC games. Yeah, I was like, hey, I've had these games installed on my PC, and I was like, I'm going to start them. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to watch YouTube instead. I've been bad, dude.
That's
I only
the problem.
play like a game a week.
That's the problem with PC games. You can get distracted by, YouTube and doing your taxes and porn. And it's a lot harder to do your taxes or watch porn on a console than it is.
You're not trying hard enough.
I'm just saying, it's possible, but it's just harder.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, no, Batman is the main thing. I had to finish that up for Barf. We'll talk more about it, but I enjoy the Batman. That's all I'll say.
Me too. I'm
I
having
can't
a
wait
good
to
old
talk
time.
about it.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Oh, man, it'll be so fun. But yeah, that's it. Nothing for me. Trek to Yomi is the next thing that I will be playing. That comes out
next week,
in
right?
the end of the week.
Yeah.
It comes out the 4th or the 5th of this week. So I'm ready to play that Black and White Samurai game. But anyways, we're going to move on to the quest log. You know what that is when we talk about the rest of the stories that are on the docket. Speaking of dockets.
I barely know her.
What's your favorite Arthur character?
My Buster Baxter's friend's
Is it
sister.
the bunny?
No,
I like the dude who wears the sweater with the like the corduroy pants and like the collared shirt coming out of it. He's a loser. Speaking of losers, we've got info on PS Plus game trials. It's from not a loser, George Yang at IGN. Look at this guy all over the place.
George Yang. Nice. Oh, sorry. Side note, Trek to Yomi is on May 5th. It is coming to Game Pass day one.
May 5th. There we go. So yeah, we got info on these PS Plus game trials. You might have remembered we're talking about, PlayStation announced, new PlayStation Plus, the top tier gets game trials. Didn't say anything else about it. They're like game trials. What does that mean? Well, we have some more information. Some of it, number 6, will surprise you. Game developers are reportedly now required to create timed game demos for PlayStation Plus premium subscribers. Going forward, any game that costs $34 or higher must have an accompanying game trial for Sony's subscription service that lasts for at least 2 hours. So if your game's over $34, you have to have a 2-hour demo. We'll keep going. That's interesting. According to a report from Game Developer, many studios are seeing this news in a new update in Sony's developer portal and were reportedly not provided any previous communication about such a change. This new policy doesn't apply retroactively or at all to PlayStation VR games. However, developers who plan to launch PlayStation games in the future will have to adhere to these updated guidelines. Developers reportedly have up to 3 months from the release of their game to put out a time trial, and they are required to be available on PlayStation's subscription service for a minimum of 12 months. Custom game demos for the service will reportedly be considered, but it seems like Sony will only approve them on an individual basis. This new policy is also separate from normal demos, and developers are still allowed to pursue initiatives like free-to-play weekend for all PlayStation owners. So before we get on, there was a little bit of an update. Before we get to that, this beginning part, what's your thoughts and ideas?
It seems like this information is hitting developers at the same time as it's hitting us. Otherwise, I feel like this would have been much more of an issue when they announced it. So that's part of the problem, because PlayStation Plus game trials launch like this week in Japan and like next week in Europe and then in 4 weeks for the United States. And so it's the fact that they're hitting people with this up front, like at the same time as this hitting the public, that's just bad. It's just bad company policy, bad way of doing business. Like if you're requiring, if this is a mandate, this is every single game that is $34 or higher. And I was thinking like, why $34? And it's like, that's half of a full price game. So if it's like full price game is, $69.99, it makes sense. So,
but you can't even go $34.99. You should be like $35 so you could hit that 1 cent below mark and still, whatever.
So the fact that they're springing this on people so late into this process is, I think, just bad relationship between them and game devs. And they're kind of, I feel like they're figuring this out at the last minute themselves. I don't feel like this is a bad practice necessarily, or it's certainly not even an unprecedented one. Like I just refreshed myself, Xbox 360. Every single Xbox Live Arcade game and every single Xbox Indie game on the 360 had to have a demo. It was required. If you wanted to be on the Xbox, you had to have a demo for your game. And then even PlayStation Plus on the PS3, this was before you needed Plus to have online play. One of the perks of PlayStation Plus was you also get 1 hour trials of most video games. And it was basically just like the first hour of every single game. So I don't think it's unprecedented. I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. There are obviously going to be concerns of like, well, what if my game is the type of game that you can beat in an hour, or you can get, or 2 hours, or you can get most of what you might want to get from that game in 2 hours, or shit, people are going to figure out my game is bad and no one's going to buy it. Well, maybe you shouldn't have made a bad game. That's on you. So I feel like I'm indifferent on this. I'm not against it. I'm not super it'll be nice, of course, to be able to say, oh man, Rainbow Six Extraction's coming out and I'm curious, but I don't want to pay it. And in a world where it didn't come to Xbox Game Pass, like, oh, I will try this. That's the type of game I would do this 2 hour demo for. So I'm into it for that reason. But they're just handling it all wrong. All wrong.
Yeah. I think, the late notice thing sucks. So when it comes to, I'm back and forth on this, and actually the update kind of makes all of my issues go away if that supposed update is real. But as far as like, all right, it kind of sucks if it's like, oh, hey, the thing that bothers me is when they're like, oh, hey, we like custom parts of it, where it's like, hey, we don't just like dump the first 2 hours of the game, can we like give a special thing? They're like, well, you have to be considered. It's like, why? Like, does this thing with demos? It'd be like, hey, here's a demo of like this certain thing that we think is cool or whatever. And they're
Right.
just like, no, it's got to be the first 2 hours unless you get special permission. I don't think that's great. It being over $34, I think kind of changes it a lot because a lot of your 1 to 2 hour indie games aren't going to cost you $34. So it
I
doesn't
think you're
really
right.
affect those people. So I think like that's fine. I mean, it would suck if you were in that $40 or $50 range where you're like, oh, you're like a THQ or, a Deep Silver, and you're just like, here's one of the weird SpongeBob games or whatever. And it's like, now we have to do a demo. It's like, I guess. But yeah, I'm with you. The communication wasn't great. I don't think in the long run it'll really hurt that many people, but it would suck if you have to make a 2 hour demo all of a sudden. I just don't like the idea of like, oh, now you got to do this shit. That's what bothers me. But update on the story: game trials are handled by Sony? Question mark. Sony will reportedly be taking care of producing these on their own, meaning developers wouldn't have any extra pre-launch work on their end. As according to Kotaku's Ethan Gotch, who was told that the PlayStation Store team will be responsible for creating these 2 hour trials. So now, if that's true, and it's like you have to do it if you're over this, da 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 da, but someone else is doing the work, oh, I don't fucking care. It would only bother me if I had to do extra work. It could still bother me that I just all of a sudden now I just have to do this thing I wasn't prepared for. But if I'm not doing any physical work, it's not costing my company anything, I'm not as mad.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Here's where I think this
No.
might be worse. Option A, you make me do extra work to create a demo. Bad. Option B, you say, don't worry about it. I will take some underpaid intern whose job it is to sit here and do, all right, you have to churn out 15 2 hour demos today. And I want you to, can I trust that person to make the best representative 2 hours of the game to sell? Like, this is what is going to make or break sales for my entire thing that I've been working on for 4 to 6 years. And I'm going to trust that to some intern who has no idea what my game is about or gives zero shits about it. Like that to me, I assume there's a lot of games that go onto the PlayStation Network, and there are a lot of games that come out on PlayStation that there's just going to be a huge quota for people to meet. And I assume there aren't a lot of people making these demos. They can't afford to pay a whole team of hundreds of people to make really quality representative 2 hour demos. So that's where I'm like, you know what? I don't want you just making this on my behalf without consulting me. I want some say in this. And to have that be like the exception to the rule where I get input, me giving input to what this demo looks like is the exception to the rule that needs approval. That's where I'm like, oh, I don't like that at all.
Now, advocate to your devil's advocate.
Ooh.
Or whatever you said.
Jesus
I think
advocate.
that's the term. Yeah, this is.
If I'm advocating on behalf of the devil, you're advocating on behalf
I'm
of
advocating
Jesus
on behalf
Christ.
of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Excuse me. So I don't think this, again, this is why the wording needs to make more sense and they need to explain to the developers. You're talking about a demo, which I agree. I wouldn't want someone else making my demo. They're talking about a game trial. So basically, like, give us your entire game. And then if they did it like this, like, hey, you download the entire game, you play for 2 hours, and then the PSN boots you out. So there's no demo to make. It's just, here is the game and whatever you can do in 2 hours, what you can do in 2 hours. That's different from making a demo. We're like, oh, here's a cool level. Here's a cool map for multiplayer. It's like, oh, no, here's just the whole game and you have 2 hours. And then it cuts you off. I don't know what they're doing because they're saying, yeah, you can make demos, but they're saying everyone has to do 2 hour trials. But like, what is a 2 hour trial? Is it the full game? Because you can just do that. But why are we making it? That's what I'm saying. Like, what do they do? What's actually happening here?
On PS3, the way that they handle it was just you download the whole game and you play until the hour mark cuts you off.
And it's like, do you want to continue? Pay money.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's fine. I guess.
I don't know, man. Because I also think about, like, I do appreciate that on one standpoint. Like, I love that I can play Dragon Quest 11 on Switch for however long I want, and then my progress carries over to the main game. Like, that's really cool. I can just start from the beginning. But also, I think about games like, sorry, this is another Nintendo thing, and it's not really applicable, but like Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The first 2 hours of that game is abhorrent, but the rest of the game is really cool. And if, like, that's the first thing that people, before they buy the game, they're like, let me play 2 hours of Zelda Twilight Princess and see if I like it. And like, oh no, it turns out this is poop on a stick. Like, I don't know. This whole thing is weird to me. And I feel like it's not a one size fits all blanket thing like Sony's trying to make it. I feel like it has to be a. If you're a developer who knows, hey, the first 2 hours of my game are shit, and you have to get through them to get to the good stuff, then yeah, let me make a 2 hour trial of a good part of the game or an enticing part of the game. And then if you like it, you can download the whole thing and start from the beginning again.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like any Final Fantasy game, it'd be like 30 hours in. Like, here you go. Now it's fun.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm with you. It's like, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I'm not going to be paying them that money for that stuff anyway, so it doesn't make me any difference. But it sucks if people are forced to do work that they didn't want to now. But speaking of things that don't suck, Supermassive's The Quarry has got a lot of endings.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. Eddie McCucci, GameSpot. Until Dawn developer Supermassive's newest game, The Quarry, has a branching storylines that leads to a very large number of possible endings. Director Will Biles told IGN that The Quarry has 186 different endings based upon the choices players make with the games.
What are the chances are
186.
What are the chances are that there's a trophy for getting 186 different endings?
There should not be.
Pray to God there's not, but you never know.
I wonder if 180. Well, again, I'm sure some will be vastly different, but one of them's like, oh, the shirt is torn.
Right. And this one, she has a nose ring for some reason.
Ooh. But we'll see what Biles said. Biles said, we worked out 186 different endings for those characters, not just alive or dead, a variation things that can happen to them. So it's 9 characters, could all be alive or dead, and then variations on those endings with those characters. Yeah, it seems like I'll get them out. Biles explained that the Quarry's branching narrative is a mathematical nightmare with ridiculous amounts of data for the game to pour over. The director also spoke about how the actors would shoot about 50 pages of the script per day, which is unheard of in the traditional film and TV world. Actors are used to, on a feature film, a 100-page script, but for this, it's over 1,000 pages, so they got very alarmed, Biles said. So just some info on that, a lot. That's my thing. It's like, how in-depth is, ending 147 compared to 186? But if it's actually substantial, I don't know how they do that for a trophy. Maybe it's just like beat it once and you're done, kid. Or maybe it's like everyone's dead or everyone lives, and then you get the platinum. I think that'd be an interesting way to do it, instead of like, oh, well, Steven, Amanda, and Josephine need to be alive, but Buster and Bugs can't make it.
I just think back to Heavy Rain and that platinum trophy, and that when you did need to see all the endings, and it was like 7 or 8 different endings, I think it was. But you had to either play the entire game 7 or 8 times, or you had to go back and like do a save hacking thing and say, all right, at this point I have to make a choice, and if that point is 20% through the game, then you have to make that choice, go all the way to the end of the game. So it was obnoxious to try to get that platinum, and I don't remember whether I did it or not. I think maybe I did, because I'm a masochist.
It doesn't sound like it's worth it, but
no, it certainly was not. I can tell you, even if I have it, I can tell you it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Hey, Captain.
Yeah. What up, brother?
We can learn to work and play. The boat sprung a leak, man.
Oh no, man! Shit.
Skull and Bones. Sprung a leak. It's from Eddie McCooch at GameSpot. God, I still don't understand why that beginning of Arthur is steel drums and a Jamaican dude singing the song for the children's show, but whatever. Ubisoft's long in development swashbuckling pirate game Skull and Bones has leaked in a big way.
Ooh.
With a lengthy gameplay video emerging from a technical test. The video, posted on Streamable, begins by setting up the focus of the game, which has become the most infamous pirate on the seas during the golden age of piracy. Players can disembark their ship at a place called Saint Anne, where they can craft new ships and equipment, collect provisions, take on contracts, and socialize with other human players, according to the video. The video also reveals that players will have their reputation tracked through an infamy scale that they can grow by taking on contracts, with rewards for succeeding and penalties for coming up short. Users can also take part in world events and plunder treasure chests to gain infamy. What's more, the video reveals some of the character creation and customizable options available to players, as well as the systems they call on players to manage their ship health and crew morale while at the seas. Ubisoft seemingly reacted to the leak by sharing an official video of its own Skull and Bones with the caption, "Keep your eyes on the horizon." Great way. It's like, oh, our game leaked. Hey, Pay attention. Fucking whatever. It's like, what? What a funny way to do damage control. Ubisoft historically holds a summer game showcase of some kind, but the company has not yet announced plans for this.
No
So,
Ubisoft
Skull and
Forward yet for
Bones.
this year.
Yeah, we haven't got one yet. So we knew about this game.
Mm-hmm.
They've been making it for 10 years,
Yep.
maybe longer. I think I was a child. I think I was in middle school. But I remember them talking about a tech test. People have leaked it. Seems like we're gonna get something soon, and
That's
maybe
right. There was
it's
that
finally
tech test
coming
with
out.
like a really strict NDA associated with it too, right?
And all that got posted on Streamable.
Yep. Yeah, this sounds like to me. There was I can't remember whether it was actually based on truth or whether it was something that you assumed, but there's some kind of like legal thing where like they have to release this game legally because they got funding from somewhere. It's like that.
Yeah, I think it's Shanghai or something. It's wherever the country it's in. It's like you gotta put it out.
Yeah, I'm happy that it's just finally coming out so it can stop being a meme. But also, what it sounds like it's trying to be from this, I'll be honest and say I haven't watched the leaked video yet. But what it sounds like it's trying to be is like realistic not Skull and Bones. That's this game. What's the Xbox one?
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. It's trying to be like a realistic Sea of Thieves. Which I am not a Sea of Thieves fan. I have tried it and did not have any fun in it. But I hope it comes out. I hope it does well, but I don't see anyone playing this for any amount of time. But I am very happy that it is no longer just boats, that you actually have players and people and you can do things and interact, and it's not just a bunch of people playing as boats.
You are a captain of a ship. I do, like I said, I'm with you. I hope it comes out good because I do like pirate stuff. That's my aesthetic. It being like a social multiplayer sort of idea, I think could be fun, like running out and doing missions and stuff. Because I actually do like Sea of Thieves. I don't play it a ton, but I have fun when you get a group together. And also I just went back because I was trying to find the information on where it came from. That is a story somewhere. I just didn't look that up because I got distracted. There's a Skull and Bones TV show on the way, and the delay of the game does not affect the
What?
TV show. Skull and Bones TV show, apparently.
What
Watch
was
those 7 episodes on Paramount Plus.
what was the like? There was a Showtime pirate show or something like that came
Yeah.
out a few years ago.
Black Sails?
Black Sails. Yeah, was that good? Did you watch that?
I didn't watch it. I heard, well, because nobody has Showtime, but I heard it was pretty good.
Right. Was Black Sails good? Let's do a little Google search there.
Yes. That's all you get.
A review on IMDb. In short, Black Sails is one of the most thoroughly enjoyable dramatic series ever. It's great adventure, great drama, and by far the best screen representation of the great days of nautical piracy.
Wait, is there other piracy that's not nautical? I mean, I guess.
I
There's
mean,
just
internet
thievery.
piracy.
Yeah. I wish they did a series about that.
Just a bunch of people on the Pirate Bay watching episodes of Black Sails because no one wants to pay for Showtime.
I have season 11 of The Simpsons.
It's Stars, not Showtime.
I do have Stars.
Oh, there you go. You're the one person.
My sister pays through her Hulu, and she's the one person who has it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I like the idea of pirates. I don't want to pay for that video game. But a game I do want to pay money for, Fallen Order 2. We got an update.
Ooh.
Some Chris Skellion at VGC.
That sounds like a pirate name right there.
Chris Skellion, Herg, DW, come up here.
Daryl
Read me a
Waltrip,
story.
come on up here. Boogity, boogity, boogity.
The sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will be released in 2023 for new-gen systems only, it has been claimed. Thank you. VentureBeat reporter Jeff Grubb made the claim during his premium Giant Bob show, Grub Snacks. Just listen to Grub Snacks, apparently that's where all the fucking news comes from.
Right.
Star Wars Jedi 2, specifically, pay attention, he did the name different. Star Wars Jedi 2 is going to be new gen only, where it's PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and then of course PC, Grubb said. One of the reasons that they're going to be able to do that is because it's not coming out until 2023. The game is for sure now not coming out until 2023. According to Grubb, the decision to focus solely on new gen systems has some upsides because they don't have to worry about trying to straddle those generational lines. According to Grubb, EA and Respawn had previously been targeting a 2022 release, but this won't now happen. Grubb also claimed that EA would be dropping the Fallen Order name for the sequel, and the game will likely be shown in some form at Star Wars Celebration in May. So we have Star Wars Celebration near the end of the month, and May the 4th is coming out is happening very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
this, so we've got a couple places for Star Wars stuff to come out. But yeah, they're like next gen only or new gen only. Um, leave that old shit in the dust, and it'll come out next year.
Do you remember when all these companies were trying to sell us on the fact that, like, oh no, developing for both generations of systems does not hold back the new version. We promise. I'm like, yeah, well, shut the fuck up. We all know it does, and we're all glad that you're not doing it anymore. Thank you.
Yeah, don't have time for it. I'm ready for this video game. I'm ready to just see it because that'll be good. Because yeah, we'll definitely see it at Star Wars Celebration. More than likely, not May the 4th, but
Yeah.
whew, I'm ready. And it'll just will probably be a different subtitle. You'll just be Jedi, the new Colossus or something like that.
Jedi 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo, the classic 2.
Yep.
Moving on to games I don't care about. Will we see Final Fantasy
Ooh.
16 this year at all? It's from Darren Bunthwees.
I'm
at the
horny for
games.
this game.
You are, huh?
Yeah. That traditional
Did you
fantasy.
play Stranger of Paradise?
No, I did not.
You
Although,
didn't kill Chaos?
after I went on that rant about how bad that game is from the demo that starts from the beginning of the game, that full game trial, which
Mhm.
apparently was not a good representative slice of the game, which is another argument towards the devil's
There you go.
advocate. After I read that, everyone's giving it like mid 80s in reviews,
Yeah.
saying that, like, oh my god, the wild, crazy twist at the end makes it all worth it, and the combat is so satisfying. It's like, maybe I judged it too harshly. So one day
But I've heard all of your issues where it's like this story is ridiculous and really, really bad and really dumb. They're like, oh, that's all true.
Yeah, but they
It's just
say
fun
the
to
end
play.
makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess. But Final Fantasy 16 is what this story is about. Final Fantasy 16 appears to be in the final crucial stages of its development cycle as a new interview with popular. Can you say this? Like I said, the last
Naoki
name, I can't say the
Yoshida.
first. Naoki Yoshida has provided some fresh updates on Square Enix's upcoming RPG. Spotted online by Twitter user Albert FF14. I wonder what video games that person likes. And translated by RPG site, Yoshida's comments come from an official Uniqlo magazine. Uniqlo.
That's
magazine.
because Uniqlo has a partnership with Final Fantasy right now. They have a lot of Final Fantasy shirts and stuff.
I've never heard of this thing.
You've never
I
heard of
believe you. I
Uniqlo?
just haven't heard. No.
Oh, I guess it's a Japanese clothing brand, or maybe it's Korean.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Japanese. Japanese
Definitely things
clothing
I'm not
brand,
into.
and it's like they have basically the essentials. Like, they got jeans, they've got sweaters, they've got socks, and everything. They've got that style of thing in like 50 colors. Like, oh, do you like this sweater? Great, we have this sweater in every color you can think of. But they have
Hunter
had
green,
like
sea green.
they've had partnerships with like Pokemon and
Okay, yeah, I've seen the
all that
Pokemon,
kind of
like the button downs.
no, that's different. That's
That's
different.
somebody else.
But they
Okay.
have Nintendo and Pokemon partnerships. Anyway, they just recently came to the U.S. Like, I remember when they came to Chicago like 5 or 6 years ago. It was like a big deal. It was like, oh my god, this is like one of the only Uniqlo stores in the entire country.
Interesting. I
Sorry,
didn't
there's
know
a
anything
little
about that.
Uniqlo spin-off there.
Oh, that's cool. The magazine for the clothes people talked to the guy. Where was I at? Yoshida's comments come from an official Uniqlo magazine ahead of that brand's launch of several. Now we're at the finale of the new game FF16's development, Yoshida said. Unlike any online game that depicts multiple players simultaneously, FF16 focuses on an individual, so the state of immersion into the story will be different. It feels like the story will be very deep.
Ooh, I'm into
He
that.
just explained the difference between an MMO and just a single player game. I like that. According to the producer, there's a hope that this particular Final Fantasy will appeal to older fans of the series who have grown with the various games over the years. Yoshida previously said that the game's next big reveal will come in spring 2022. Looking at my watch. And due to complications around COVID-19, Final Fantasy 16's development has been delayed by almost half a year. I don't know why Final Fantasy t-shirts got
Because I think
copied over.
I think the end of that sentence, Uniqlo magazine, ahead of that brand's launch of several Final Fantasy t-shirts. I think that's where it's supposed to go.
I messed him up there. I understand. But yeah, no, so he's like, hey, it's coming along. It's good. Buy the t-shirts. The game's coming along. It's not multiplayer.
I think the clarification on that is if you look back at Stranger of Paradise and you look back at Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, you control a party of people all at once while you're fighting. Versus I think this one he's trying to say is that it's one singular character that you take through the entire series, which was honestly, I can't think of another Final Fantasy off the top of my head where you only control one person and not a party. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong, but that's what it read like to me.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it seems interesting. Again, I know people are excited for that PlayStation exclusive. But I just never liked Final Fantasy, man. I just can't get into it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
They're hit or miss for me. Some of them I can get really into. Some of them are like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever played. Final Fantasy X, I played all the way through it. Stupid. Final Fantasy
That was
12.
the first one I played. Was 10.
Woof, dude. 12, which
I
is
was like,
again one that so many people like. I got like 2 hours and I was like, ugh, no, this is stupid. But some of them are real good.
some of them. I didn't play the older ones. Maybe I should go back. This next story. Could you tell? Did the writer make up this headline, or was it me?
I thought
see
this
in a
said,
second.
when I read this earlier, I thought it's Can't Fool Daddy Sunny. Like you're talking
No.
to your kid. Like Bugs talking to
No.
Buster in the bedroom.
Yeah, as a mentor role.
Right.
Can't fool Daddy Sony. It's from James Carr at GameSpot. So I remember we were talking about this. We're like, hey, what do I do? You know, if I want to upgrade from tier to tier, oh, maybe you can get cards and stack them up. Maybe you can't. Sony has reportedly disabled PlayStation Plus prepaid code redemption for existing subscribers ahead of the transition to the new tiered version of PlayStation Plus in June. As reported by Eurogamer and PushSquare, some users are unable to redeem their prepaid PS Plus and PS Now subscription, presumably to stop users from locking in the new tiers of PlayStation Plus at a cheaper price. In the FAQ for the new PS Plus, PlayStation states the users who are subscribed to both PS Plus and PS Now will be switched over to the highest tier when the transition is made. The length of the subscription will be based on whichever subscription is longer. Since the service was announced, users have begun stacking their subscription in anticipation of them being converted to the new service. Now, it seems like PlayStation is blocking users from redeeming cards and from extending their subscriptions digitally as well. GameSpot can confirm the attempt to access an already active PS Plus subscription on a PS5 console results in an error code CE bunch of numbers. Attempting to extend a PlayStation Plus subscription on the PlayStation Store website results in an error stating the item can't be added to the cart because, quote unquote, you've already purchased this item. According to PushSquare, Sony support is confirming that stacking of prepaid cards has been disabled. I have checked the voucher in your account, and you conclude that as of now, there's a temporary deactivated function for PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus subscriptions, which will not allow for stacking of either membership or on already active membership. A Sony support rep told the outlet via email. So everyone said, hey, I remember with Game Pass, you get that $1 deal. You just buy fucking years of Xbox Live and you do the $1, you can just get years for basically nothing. And PlayStation said, fuck you.
Well, what's really interesting is this all started when they announced that PlayStation Now, which traditionally cost $100 a year, would convert to the premium tier, which costs $120 a year. Everyone was like, oh, well, that's awesome. I have PlayStation Now, and it'll just become the premium thing. And they just so happened to also be selling PlayStation Now subscriptions for half price on the PSN. And so people were getting, or not half price, $60, which is half price of the new premium tier. So people went crazy and they're like, I'm going to buy a ton of PlayStation Now annual subscriptions, and that's going to all convert over to PS Plus Premium. So there were people who for a couple of weeks were able to do that successfully. And now PlayStation is like, okay, no more. No more. Maybe we did this on purpose in order to get more people on the premium tier so that more people could play it and get hands on it and speak well of it, and maybe just accidentally continue to pay for it. What the one thing in here that like is weird to me is that so PlayStation states that users who are subscribed to both, so you paid the $60 a year membership and you paid the $100 a year membership, they're just going to say, forget the $60 a year one. That's not being refunded to you. We're just going to convert you to the longer membership or to the higher membership. So I could pay $100 or I could pay $160. Either way, I get the premium tier. I feel like that's a little bit of a fuck you, where they could at least give you partial credit for the $60 subscription, or so. That doesn't sit well with me. But there's one other thing that I think is a little weird that they haven't addressed too, and that is all of these people who have the PlayStation Plus, who are going to then be converted to the base tier. Let's say I've stacked 2 or 3 years worth of that, because I think I do. I think right now I have like 18 more months of it stacked up already. And And let's say for one, they've said, oh yeah, you can upgrade your membership to the premium tier once it's converted for the difference in price.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But what they haven't said is like, can I do that on a monthly basis? What if there's something coming out that's on that service, or I want to play some PS3 games for a month? Do I have to convert all 18 of my months at once? Or can I only do that for 1 month at a time?
I never put it as a story because it was just like a really quick thing. But if you want to Google, I'm pretty positive that it's like, you can upgrade your service for the remainder of what your subscription is.
Ooh, I hate
so
that.
if it's like, you've got 18 months left, they give us $5 times 18 months and you can get to that next tier, buddy.
I hate that.
You should double check, but I saw it a couple weeks ago as a story, but I was like, I don't know, this isn't really enough to like talk about it. But I think that it's like, yeah, you got to upgrade everything till the end of it. So, yeah, no loopholes. Daddy Sony shaking his finger. You're not doing any of that.
Hate that. You've just made the rest of my day really poopy. Thanks, Adam.
I'm sorry. I just got to tell you how it is, bud. Nothing
I
I can do
appreciate
about
you
it.
protecting me, though, from future disappointment. You've
But
just
so if you
confirmed
had
for me that I'm not going to subscribe to the higher tier at all now. Since I
should
can't
stay
do
in
it
the
on a
middle one.
one-off. Yep.
I'm with you. But that's it for the stories. There you go. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of talk about not Muppets, Arthur. Muppets and Arthur, completely different characters.
Now I have to look up and see if Arthur Muppets exist. Arthur.
I'm sure that
Muppets.
again, you're going to go back to that same website you were on before that had all the naughty pictures.
A lot of King Arthur Muppets. That's what comes up.
Yes. Of course.
All right, it's time for Game On Game Show. The Game on our gaming show, we play a game called Game On, the gaming show on our game show. Game. Arthur. Damn it. I just called you Arthur. Adam.
Arthur and Dale Earnhardt Jr. here. What's going on?
Adam, we've got a returning game called Guess What Happened This Week? This is a game where we take a look at monumental dates in gaming history. Could be game releases, video game console releases, could be all sorts of things. And things that happened specifically this week in the past in video games. So I have 6 things here that were major points in gaming history. And I will tell you the date, the year, and then I will give you a short little riddle to see if you can guess what it is that came out on that day.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I will try my best.
As we are recording, it is Sunday, May 1st. And on May 1st, in 1982...
Wasn't alive.
Me neither. I'd been pre-dead for 8 years.
Yeah.
This game dev was a spin-off from a wildly popular movie studio, but they weren't allowed to make games based on their own movies.
LucasArts.
Yes. Well, so the game dev company, do you know the name of them? That was originally...
Was it Lucasfilm Games?
Yes, it is Lucasfilm Games.
Okay.
They were founded in 1982, but Indiana Jones and Star Wars were contracted to Atari, so they had the license for those games at the time. So Lucasfilm had to make original things at the time.
Yes.
That same day, 5 years later in 1987, make sure you wear a nice scarf to protect your neck. Oh, and a nice Woody wouldn't hurt.
A scarf and a Woody.
Yep.
I thought you were making a Toy Story reference, but that was not that early.
No, this is 1987.
Scarf
Make
and
sure
a
you
Woody.
wear a nice scarf to protect your neck.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and a nice Woody wouldn't hurt.
You can keep saying these clues, Chad. And
Protect your neck.
Yeah.
What if I read it like this?
So maybe something horror.
Make sure you wear a nice scarf to protect your neck. Oh, and the nice
Okay.
Woody wouldn't hurt. Blah.
Okay, so the Count from Sesame Street had a video game come out. Gotcha.
You're very close. You're very close.
Something Dracula. Castlevania, maybe?
Yes, Castlevania.
Okay.
Comes out on NES. The scarf so that they can't bite your neck and turn you into a vampire.
Yeah, I get it now that you said it. When you first said it, I was like, scarf and a Woody. What are we talking about?
A Woody is I've decided is British
steak.
slang for a steak. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've decided that's British slang.
You've decided that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, moving on to May 3rd.
Real quick,
Yes.
can you believe there's a character in Arthur named Muffy? We're talking about you're talking about slang in Britain and stuff. I think naming a character Muffy is also.
Is her mom Merkin?
I don't remember what her mom's name is. I think it's Mayor Muffy by the end of the series.
Oh my god, I love it.
I don't remember.
I love it.
Anyways,
all right, May 3rd, 2002. You can finally bring this console to your French friends, and we put a handle on it to make it easier to do so.
French? What did the French have to do with it? I'm assuming it's the GameCube released in France or Europe, maybe?
That is exactly right. GameCube is released in Europe on May 3rd, 2002. Okay.
Your French friends. Oh, we have the GameCube, huh? Yes.
All right. Also, on May 3rd, 2002, the same day, these bad guys can go through walls and doors, but not vacuum cleaner bags.
Luigi's Mansion, baby.
That is correct. Luigi's Mansion released in Europe alongside the launch of the GameCube. 2 more. May 4th, 2004. One of the most critically acclaimed game series of all time just walked bow-legged through the saloon door, and no one gave a shit about this debut.
Is it so? Who? No, it wouldn't be 2004. So this would be Red Dead Revolver.
Yes, Red Dead Revolver on Xbox and PS2.
Because I remember the day Red Dead Redemption came out because I was working at a video game store at the time. But 2004, I was not working at a video game store. So I was like, it has to be the first one that, I think it's Capcom, and no one fucking cares.
Yep, no one gave a shit. I looked up Metacritic too. It was like low 70s.
Yeah.
All right, last one. May 5th, 1992. There's never been such depth to Nazis before now.
Depth to Nazis. So, I like how you did that. Depth, 3-dimensional, Wolfenstein 3D.
Hey, yep, Wolfenstein 3D is released, paving the way
Look
for
at that.
first-person shooters for the rest of time.
I was perfect, and we made jokes about Muppets and Arthur. What a great show.
That's true, and some Muff Girl.
Her name's Muffy. I'm going to look up. I don't know if I can Google Muffy into Google, but we'll see what happens. Muffy from Arthur. Muffy Cabot. Who is that? Anyways. Oh, it's not with an IE. Her name is Muffy Crosswire.
Ooh.
And yeah, she becomes the mayor at the end of the thing. She's the rich girl. It's like, my daddy. I think her dad's like a used car salesman.
Sounds like a way to get rich.
Oh, wow. She has a fandom page.
Muffy with a Y?
No. Yeah, Muffy with a Y.
Muffy Crosswire. Oh, I remember this bitch. Oh, when she gets older, she gets a bow in her hair and wavy hair.
Yeah, the series finale shows Muffy running for mayor of Elwood City. While it's unknown if she'll become president, it's clear that she has strong political future ahead of her, because there is another episode where I think she dreams that she's president of the United States. So Muffy, powerful figure in Arthurtown. Also, the name of a vagina in slang.
Yes, it is. Speaking of vaginas, that's it for our show, and that is it for Game on Game Show. We have homework for you, as always. Your homework involves BARF, Backlog Accomplishment with Respawn and Friends. It is a monthly game series that we do where we play something from our backlogs that we have not played, or it's been a very long time, or we think everyone should play. This month, being April, so last month, we played Batman the Enemy Within. Again, we're doing our episode about that this week, so keep an eye out for that. And then for the month of May, we put up 4 games, all able to be played on mobile, and you all voted a tie straight down the middle between 2 games, Gris, 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 and That Dragon Cancer were the 2 contenders. Adam, you are going to be our official tiebreaker. What game are we playing for the month of May?
So what I did, I went to howlongtobeat.com, the website where you go to see how long it takes to beat video games. I looked up both these video games. I looked up both their Metacritics. Gris is the longer game. That Dragon Cancer is a shorter game. But I don't want to play a game about a child getting cancer. No, thank you. So we're going to be playing Gris next month for BARF.
All right. What is the Gris time to beat?
3.5 hours
Oh shit, yeah, nice.
for main story and extras 4 hours.
How long is that platinum though? That's the big question.
Completionist is 6.5
Oh,
hours.
shut up! No, I'm playing this on my iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Mobile.
forget it has a platinum. All right, so that's Barf for May. Again, if you would like to play along with us, you can, because I'm not your mom and I can't tell you what to do. So play along with us, and then if you do, or you have thoughts on Gree, then let us know over on twitter.com/respawningfire. If you want to be on the show and talk about it, awesome. Let us know. Send us an email, respawningfire@gmail.com. And if you want to vote on future games, go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire, become a patron, and have a jolly old time. All right, Adam, that's it. That brings us to the end of our podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you're listening right now, thank you. If you're watching right now,
Arthur character.
if you're watching right
favorite
now,
one?
put your favorite Arthur character in the comments below. Right now, do it. And then after you do that, create 6 more accounts and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Until next week, here's our usual sign off. And I said, hey, what a wonderful time of day where we can learn to laugh and play and get along with each other.
Hey, what a wonderful kind of day.